here. I had to move Yeah, I mentioned I was on a meeting just 20 minutes ago with Google, and it didn't go so well on the internet connection. I'm down in Mexico, and so I moved locations. If there's background noise, I think one of the benefits of this work remote world and work from home is, if a dog barks, we don't seem to mind anymore. So excuse any background noise. But yeah, I'm Mark O'Brien. I'm the founder of ProjectLibre. I do speak around the world on project management. Huge proponent of PM education globally. There was actually 1,500. I'll go back and forth, but there's 1,500 universities around the world that teach project management using ProjectLibre. So we're very active in the PM education world. I just spoke at a conference in South America, a PMI conference done in South America. I'm devoted to it because I started in the mainframe days of project management. And so any of the old guard there remembers Project 2 or QuickNet, which was DOS, by a company called PSDI, or Project Scheduler by Cytor, that's now Cyforma. I was in the DOS days with Cytor as well. Launched Web Project, the first web-based project management solution, the progeny that got acquired by Silver Lake Partners. And then we decided we're going to take this to the limit. And so ProjectLibre currently is desktop. I'm going to show you the cloud version. We're some of the first people. We're doing previews. There's probably 10,000, it's over 10,000 companies now are looking to beta test it. And we're working very closely with Google on a number of things. And we're going to have some announcements. One of the reasons I'm down in Mexico. And but the cloud version is a little different. So anyone that wants to use the desktop version, it essentially, you guys are PMI folks, so probably a lot of PMPs involved. It's not a complete dubbing of a Microsoft project, but you can open existing Microsoft project files. I've done a lot of videos on things like earned value, and we've got earned value costing in there and resourcing and all of that. So the desktop version, I highly encourage you to use it. It's free, and so that is available. And again, it's used globally. I'm not, because this is a different topic, I'm not going to run through kind of the deck that I sent. I'm going to go into the cloud version. And then if you guys have questions, you can let me know. But one of the things that we're working on, and I'm actually releasing a blog with Google this afternoon, is the concept of, actually I will show a little bit, is the concept of remote work. So my CTO is based in Paris, and he was over the holidays in the French Alps skiing, and I was in the Sea of Cortez. It's the same project, it's ProjectLibre. And the idea is, you folks in Cleveland, I know there's a huge chip fab going down in Columbus. You know, if you're working remote from the chip fab in Columbus, you could be in Pickerington. I know Ohio. You could be in Pickerington, or you could be in Cleveland. It just doesn't matter. And that's just kind of our background. But what I wanted to show was this. I mean, I was down in South America. We had a joint Google call, and I live in San Mateo, and that was just informative that, you know, it was a 20-minute drive, but it didn't matter. I was down in Quito. And so with these technologies, and so I think there's just a world of opportunity for project managers. I skipped through kind of the presentation because that's not what this is about. But I do think my pushing of PM education, project management as a discipline, it doesn't matter where. The photo there is Pinterest. And that's only a rendition of what their headquarters would have been. They spent $90 million to not move into their headquarters, which is located right by the San Francisco Giants Stadium. It's prime location, but they're not doing it. The other companies that are shown on the screen, it's the same thing. They're what's called remote first. So anyway, I'm a huge proponent of that. That's not the topic of this. If anyone ever wants to learn more about it, again, we're releasing blogs on it. We're talking about it. And I welcome anyone to contact me. That's a big part of what I like to do. I'm going to switch over and share ProjectLibre Cloud. Can someone acknowledge you can see my screen?
I can see it.
Good. Okay. Good. I'm gonna move this over. So, because this is Tech Thursday, and again, thank you everyone for your time, because I know you guys are all busy, and it's lunchtime for you. So, thanks for your time to do this. This is ProjectLibre Desktop. Okay. The big difference, or ProjectLibre Cloud. The big difference is the desktop is really single user, single project. You can see I have a dashboard here. The project tab here, resources, reports, and calendar, if you are familiar with ProjectLibre, would all be very familiar to you. If you look here, it's a 4x4 grid, obviously. We made it very easy to come through here and configure your grid. If I only wanted one row, I would just see, two panels. If I only wanted one column, I would see them stacked together. So that's how you lay the grid out. And then if you can see in the background, I'm showing 4 projects. That's because I filtered all of my projects, excuse me, just to show these 4. You can even put a formula in there, so you're only showing projects that map to a certain parameter. So I've selected these 4 projects, and then I've said, okay, well, these are the panels I want to see. If I don't want to see that, if I want to see a pie chart up here instead, I just grab that pie chart and I bring that over, or maybe a horizontal bar chart. So we've made this very easy for you to configure. We actually spent months on this, and our beta testing essentially has been to validate that this is what people are doing. So now I've set the 4 panels, I've set what the panels are, I've set which projects are in there. If I click out, you can see everything comes back in. This bar chart for the menu, it's cost, actual, remaining cost. If I click on the gear and I'll look at the field list for this, the field list is going to be those 3. Well, as everyone on the call knows, cost is actually the accumulation of actual remaining costs. So if I didn't want to see all 3 bars, just 2, I could grab cost, drag it over to the left, and I would just see 2 bars. So that's the same thing with the pie chart, the donut chart. I could say, I don't want to see cost, I want to see actual work in the pie chart. I would take actual work, I would drag that over, and that would be what displayed. So very quick to do that. I did the same in the pie chart. This is actually my thing is in the way. With the bubble chart, my vertical axis is project benefit. My horizontal axis I chose to be project priority, and I chose the size of my bubble to depict cost. So if we look, the red one here is testing project 2. And so it's got large organizational benefit, almost, it's a very, very minimal organizational priority for whatever reason. And the size of the bubble indicates it's a fairly large project compared to the projects that I'm displaying there. So again, really easy to set up your dashboard. Some people will only want one panel, and then they'll want one key metric in there, and they can do that. They may only want different projects in there. So very quick to do that, and that's different in the cloud version. The portfolio is also a different animal because we don't have the concept of the portfolios on the desktop. Here's a good example. Here's a project that someone wanted imported. I believe that's from Google. And so it's a 2-year project. I will not open it. We were testing because you can simply open existing Microsoft project or ProjectLibre desktop files. And it's not complex, not complicated. I know that some of our competitors, who I won't name names, have multiple web projects or online projects and desktop projects, etc. Here, you're just going to simply open it and it's in your browser. So we've tried to make it very simple to do that. And the other thing we've added, I'll go on Ubisoft, we've added the concept of teams. So with teams, I can come through and I've got the customer 2 team on this. That may not be the case. It may need to be the marketing team. And it is, I'll show teams in a minute, but you can just drag that over and the marketing team is now on that project. One of the other differences, excuse me, is if I click on this, oh, let me scroll over. So you can see all the project relevant information's there, from costing to actual costing. You can red light, yellow, or you can do the stoplight action on it. And if something's completed, you can check that off. The other thing, you can go through and give the projects different status. So pending, completed, canceled, on hold, benefits, risks, priorities, scores, all of that is available here. It's a project allowed. We go to project early morning here, which I was using earlier. What this is familiar to you if you're a Microsoft project user. It's also familiar to you if you've used, again, ProjectLibre desktop. So, and again, this is in your browser, but it's very easy to use. I'm just going to add 3 projects. I'll say 1, 2, 3, and again, I'll say 10 days, 5 days, and I'll make it a 0-day duration. You put the cursor in, and of course you drag to create the precedence relationships. And then you do that. Something interesting that was just alerted to me that I don't follow Project for the Web that closely. You guys probably do, but if I click on this link, I can say that it's a start-to-start relationship. Apparently Project for the Web only has finish to start relationships. So I'm really not sure if I've heard that's accurate. Actually, I'm not sure when they're going to fix that, but you certainly need precedence relationships past finish to start. So if I was to do that, click that again, I can say, okay, well, this starts 2 days after the other one starts. I mean, this is all basic to you folks, but you can see we model that. I can come through and baseline it. I can save the baseline, and you can see the baseline shows up. And kind of a good, I guess Project for the Web doesn't have baselines. I'm just learning this stuff now. But if I was to change this back to finish the start, for instance, you see that pushes out now, and our baseline is still stagnant back there. So, we do what you would expect. It's in your browser. I can assign a resource to it. I'll assign myself Marco B, and you can see that my resource shows off to the left. I'm assigned 2 other tasks as well. I point that out because I'm going to log in. We're role-based, so I'm logged in as an admin, which is why I'm doing all of this and assigning resources. If let me actually delete these 3 so that I can show you. And you can see the summary structures there. I highlighted these tasks and indented them. You can collapse that through. And again, the same thing that you'd expect from ProjectLibre desktop. If you were to look at the WBS mimics the indentation structure, and so you can roll information up to WBS. The network diagram is, again, interactive. If I was to click on a link, I could change the links there, and I can model the project accordingly. One of the other things that we're doing to make this a little cleaner, this is a view probably a lot of you use, but you can see Salam is assigned to the design task. Work is 8 hours per day. I can come through and put actual work in here as a column. The reason I clicked off on that, it just makes it a little busy to show, but we do period by period tracking of the resources with this. So this is clearly daily. If we were to take a look in 3-day increments, weekly increments, or go into monthly buckets, we could do that totally. So this is what you would expect on that, and we're going to just continue to push forward with that. We initially are releasing this without some of the integrations, but things like time card and box wants to integrate, etc., and a lot of things like that. So that will be coming down the pipeline with this. The last view, and it's interesting to get feedback. And again, you guys can send me feedback because we were going to eliminate this icon. So just for aesthetic purposes, there'd be 4 icons. However, the state of Texas are huge ProjectLibre users. They want some of their users to only log in, see their tasks, and update the task % complete. That's it. They don't see a bunch of icons. They don't want to see a lot of tabs. And so we had that in here for testing, just so that we could do it. They were using it and they love it. So for now, that's in there, and I'll show you where it's applicable. When I log in as Marco B, all I'm going to see are these 2 tasks, and I'll update them. So, you know, excuse me, my allergies are just really bad. But the applicability of that is that, you know, you can update very quickly. The other thing you can do is that spreadsheet is essentially the same as this spreadsheet. If I want to click on the gear again, and I want to say the field list, this is the default field list. If I want cost or earned value, etc. Let's just say out of the blue, I wanted, let me just throw a random, I'm going to put actual start in there, okay? And I'm going to put it after, well, I'll leave it like that and then I'll show you. But so when I click on that, you can see actual start is now there. If I want to rearrange the fields, I could go back to the field list and say, I don't want actual start there. I'm going to drag that all the way to the end, save that. And when we take a look, you know, our field list has changed. So we've spent a lot of time to make this very flexible for people. And again, it's going to be, it's a cloud version. It's a team solution, which is again different, but this is what you would expect from ProjectLibre desktop. The same thing is very familiar with the resources. You have resource calendars. You can come through. You can actually have different types. So you can have a work type that's a material, other, etc. Different costs, standard overtime rates, all of that. And so you can go through and do that. Reporting and calendars are the same. Again, someone had asked the question earlier about the reporting with the Power BI is what Microsoft uses. It's really interesting. And one of the things that we're working closely with our beta users on is in fact reporting and how far to go with kind of mimicking kind of Power BI, whether it's an open source alternative or something that we do with that. So calendars are there as well. If I want to be cognizant of your timing because you guys are obviously on your break here. One of the big differences, I'm logged in as an admin right now. If I log in as an admin, you can see that I've got other options available to me here. If I click on the admin role itself, excuse me, I get a whole set of options here. One of them is roles. I've actually added a couple. I didn't realize that. Anything grayed out here, okay, is a standard role. So you're not able to go through and modify these. What you can do is come through and clone it. And when you clone it, then you get the blue one. So you always know what is your standard roles. And the standard are administrator, project manager, portfolio team member, resource manager. And if I was to take a look, for instance, at the team member, it's got all of these capabilities. And I've already got the clone, so I won't do it. But in the clone, you're going to notice what I did is I took portfolio, I dragged it to the left. So that person, when they log in, and I'll log in as that, doesn't see the portfolio tab, which is right up there. They don't see the dashboard tab. I believe I dragged network over. Well, let's take a look at it. So the team member clone, if I scroll down through, yeah, they're just seeing the spreadsheet, project usage, and that's it, and the resource. So it's much more limited. So you create your roles, and customers can be roles too. So you can have external customers. And this has been very popular in the professional services community. It doesn't matter what part of professional services like you are. If you've got a customer, you can give them access. So maybe only they see the Gantt chart. They can't modify it. Maybe they can only see it. or maybe they only see their summary Gantt bar in the portfolio view. So that's even less detail. So you can really customize this for what you would like. If I was to create a new user, and I call it, PMI is the first name and Cleveland, or I'll just say Ohio, and then we could give an email to that login user and a password. And when we do so, it creates a resource in the resource pool for us as well. So it's very convenient for doing that. And then by default, we have a team member as the role, because we certainly wouldn't want to default to administrator and have someone create 200 administrators in the organization. So we default to admin, but if I wanted to, I could drag team member over and say, no, this person's going to be a project manager. So when the project manager logs in, they're going to have different permissions than the team member did. I am going to click on testing. I will not save that, to be clear. If I click on mark testing, you can see my role is team member clone. If I was to log in, which I will in a minute, as mark testing, that team member clone is going to have a different view of ProjectLibre than what we're seeing now. The other area, so you create your roles, you have your users, your users inherit the roles for their permissions, and then I can create a new team, and I can say the PMI team. And on the PMI team, I can say Mark's on there, Olivia's on there, and I could say Tahoe Obi's on there. So these three people are on the team, and I won't create that, but I will. It's that easy to do. Let me go back. Sorry, I should have. Oh, there we go. Oop, that's why it didn't show. My Zoom is interfering with me being able to. There we go. So I'm going to save that team. Now you can see the PMI teams there. If I go over to portfolio and I take a look at a project, these are my projects, the PMI teams there, I can now drag that team onto the project. So again, roles, users, teams, portfolio, it kind of all syncs together on that. And then with licenses, again, I'm logged in as an admin, so that's why I would see this. Otherwise, you wouldn't see that. You can see I created this test company. I've got 8 team members and 8 project managers that are available. I've created 7 project managers and only 1 team member currently. And so that's kind of how the admin goes. Again, this is quite a bit different than ProjectLibre Desktop, because the concept of a role is not there. So let me actually log out. Let me log out. It's giving me, I'm having, I can't access it. The Zoom is interfering with logging out. That's very interesting. Huh. I was going to show a key thing, which is logging out and logging back in. I'm not familiar with Zoom, so that's part of the problem. Oh, there it is. Log out. Hope I can log back in fine. And so it was mark testing was the user that I wanted to show. And again, I just logged in as that team member clone with very limited capabilities. And I'm only seeing my 2 tasks, and that's it. I'm not seeing resources, anything else. If I click on my task and I say, this isn't 60% complete, it's 70% complete, and I log out again and log back in, if I open, so now obviously the interface changes again, but if I go to portfolio, project early morning, open it, if I scroll back through, you can see the task is now 70% complete. So that's really how our roles work. The teams work for, we've got some very large companies that will be rolling this out. And in fact, just the early morning project actually had a presentation to a very large company with their headquarters is in France, major operations in the United States, and they've got some operations in Canada. I'm not picking on Canada, it's the smallest of their operations. They don't want the Canadian operation being able to assign resources or see projects or have access to the French projects. And it's not a French Canadian thing, it's just their corporate structure. So by setting up teams, they can actually restrict. I'm an admin, I'm seeing all the projects. However, I might only see the first 3 projects if I was on a team that was assigned there. So it really is kind of a way for you to filter out information and prevent people from seeing what they shouldn't see. And again, in the example of creating a customer, if the testing project one customer, if you wanted them to have access to see the entire Gantt chart, or excuse me, if you only wanted them to see the summary Gantt bar, they could see this. They could see the project starts and finishes here. It does have a baseline. They can see if the project's deviated from the baseline. And if it hasn't, then they can see that. However, if you want that same customer to have more granularity, to in fact see, the Gantt chart itself, you could also do that. And then in that case, they would see the actual Gantt chart. So it's really, it's up to each user, administrator, and company to really indicate how they want to use that. So I'm not going to go too much further because I really want to open it up for questions for people and comments. If anyone's interested, we give previews Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at ProjectLibre. I run most of them because I want the feedback, and the developers are all quite busy. But again, before we wrap up, kind of the overview of ProjectLibre is the overview of ProjectLibre is that we are global and 193 countries. We're expanding rapidly. As noted, some of that growth is down in Central South America, but we're also over in Saudi Arabia, we're over in Europe, we're over in Asia, and we're going to keep growing. The desktop version is a good solid solution. We will never abandon it. We want to see many, many more project managers around the world. Tightly aligns with the mission of PMI as well, and any other organizations. And we are also tightly aligned with it's over 1,500 universities. Excuse me. It's amazing that many universities teach project management, but it's also a barometer to show the health of the industry and where we're going. And again, with my big push for remote first and work, and it's not my push, but it's acknowledging that's the world these days. The cloud version is going to have its role in there because, again, I'm working on this project here in Mexico right now, but I could easily be in San Mateo or last month down in South America, and you guys up in Cleveland, our team over in France. It doesn't matter. And then working remote has the added advantages of all the background noise you're hearing, which I apologize for. But again, I had mentioned that the Google meeting was a very good meeting, but there's a lot of background noise. And I also encourage you, as a promo for Google, we're releasing a joint blog today about one of their Google Lab products called, it's in the labs, it's not released, but it's called Aloud, A-L-O-U-D. And we're releasing 2 ProjectLibre videos through artificial intelligence, have been dubbed from English into Spanish from Spain, and Portuguese from Brazil, as an example. They have Spanish for Latin America, and they also have Portuguese for Portugal. But it shows the intricacies and dialects and this and that, which again, I think is a big push for remote work, that people will be able to do that. So again, I don't want to take too much time. Whoever's moderating this, feel free to open it up for any questions, and feel free to attend any of our previews, and also reach out to us, info@projectlibre.com, or I enjoy speaking with the community and have been in PMI again since 1989. So enjoy the community. So, feel free to reach out to me as well. 1 second. Yeah,
Thank you. Sorry, thank you, Mark. But we have one question, if it's the time for the questions in the chat. Can you import, export MS Project and the same for Excel? That's one of the question.
Yeah, the kind of two questions there. One, Microsoft Project, absolutely. You can import Microsoft Project files, and it's a standard format. So we've tested Primavera files as well, and there's a bunch of them. The key question there, well, Excel, it's an XML format. So if you have an XML file format that's in the correct format, then the answer is yes. The one thing I would say, though, is I would say one of our biggest error messages or issues people have is they say, I have an MPX file and it doesn't import. And we'll ask them, did it come from Microsoft? And initially they'll say yes. And then they'll say, no, we generated this MPX file from whatever product it is. And an XML file, one missing comma, and it doesn't work. So the answer is yes. It's just, it needs to be in the right format, which if you're exporting a Microsoft Project file, then it's certainly going to be in the right format. Yes.
And how about the Excel?
Yeah, Excel, you'd have to save it as an XML file, and then the XML file needs to be in the correct format. So that's where I put a caveat up there, because again, one missing comma and it's reading a duration is a task name, to just give an example. So everything has to be formatted correctly. You can cut and paste Excel information in. So like what I'm showing here, you could have, name and duration and cut and paste that in there.
And we have maybe 3 questions about the same topic. They're asking, the desktop is free, the desktop version of it is free, and how about the cloud version? Is there any cost associated with this version? And
right,
along with that, they are asking if there is any free trial version where they can try or work around with this software.
Yeah, it's all good questions. The desktop version will always be free. It's free, it's open source, it's in 29 languages, it's been downloaded 5.6 million times. It's always going to be free. I'd be interested in feedback. There's a lot of improvements we're going to do to it, but that will always remain free. The cloud version, we have not announced pricing yet, but I am announcing pricing for beta testers that it's going to be very inexpensive. It's going to be $9.99 per user per month for the beta testers. And that is in recognition of their time beta testing it, giving us feedback, etc. But we have not actually announced commercial pricing yet. We will. That announcement's going to be coming pretty quickly. Oh, and as far as access to the beta, I had mentioned there's actually over 10,000 companies looking to beta test. Like anything, that sounds like a big number. If you filter it down, the number of I don't know what the number of companies is, but it's not that number, but it's still a lot of companies. Currently, we have a select group of companies, small enough that we can work with all of them and actually get the feedback and implement it. We're going to make an announcement within, probably give us a couple of weeks. And I know this is being recorded, so this is April 28th. So give us a couple of weeks. And at that point, we're going to expand the beta out and then sequentially expand it and then release. So that's what we're doing. If you are interested, you can sign up on our website, www.projectlibre.com. And then you can sign up for the beta there. It gets you on the list. And then we work with people, and then you can attend the preview, and then we'll get the feedback. So yeah, it's a process right now, but it's working very well.
And any question, please feel free to put them in the chat for everyone, or for me, Mark. You can check the chat your side, or you are more than welcome if you want to open the mic and ask the question.
Again, I'm sorry for the background noise, by the way, guys. I just, one of those things, you know, you just roll with it. So thanks.
No problem, Mark. This is Terry. I have a question. With this being a global project, and this is my first exposure to it, and I'm really excited. But for those project managers who do global projects, so they may have people on their team whose native languages are different, do you have currently, or are you thinking about having any type of language translation? So the project manager could do their project in English, say, and his network guy in Spain could view the thing in Spanish.
Well, you're getting a preview of the announcement we're making this afternoon with Google. It's not about the product, but it's about some of the videos we're doing. But yeah, it's very important to us. ProjectLibre Desktop is translated into 29 languages. So that covers a lot of the world. I mean, there are languages we're not translated into, but like even in India, there's regional dialects in India. Even in Spain, there's regional dialects in Spain. I forget if we're in Galician. So Galicia has a different language, so we're in Galician. So to answer your question, on the desktop, you can do that. And then even the desktop has an option when you're using it, there's a world icon in the corner. And when you click on it, I'm not good at, it's not launched anyway, and I'm not good at Zoom, so I'm not going to try and share that screen. But with the world icon, you can select your country, your language, and that has default currency with it too. So that if you're doing month, day, year, or day, month, year, or year, you can set all those formatting up, and then your language as well. So I could be using the project. I could be managing the project in Spanish, and you could be opening it in Mandarin, and then someone else could be opening it in English. So it's very flexible, so that yes, you could. Now the more applicable answer for you, and I'll get to that, is the cloud version. We're not there yet because we're trying to release it right now, but you know, we're trying to get it out and released. But over time, because inherently, if you're in the cloud, we're all working different places in the world. Why should you see my interface if I'm like launching the project in English, which is your point, when I launch it in my browser in Spain? So we're going to get there for sure, and I can't wait, because that's going to be quite a interesting capability.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, but to answer your, to mention the other teaser there, so Google's artificial intelligence group, and it's called Lab 120. Lab 120 has put some AI muscle into language translation for videos. So later today, I'm releasing 2 videos of the desktop version, and it says, "Hello, this is Mark O'Brien" in English. It's in Brazilian Portuguese, and it's in Spanish, and it's not my voice, obviously, it's artificial intelligence. But those users in those countries and dialects are going to be able to understand the overview in their native dialect, and it syncs up with pauses exactly where it's supposed to be. It's really impressive. So it's not just like a text translation. It goes through and translates all the way. It's very impressive. And again, you can expect that later in the morning or afternoon, wherever we both are. But yeah, I've got a strong affiliation for Ohio, so it was great to be able to speak to everyone, and hopefully everyone's Ohio State fans. So if not, we'll have to talk later. It affects your tech support. I'm kidding, but so yeah, check it out. Let us know the feedback, and then with the cloud version, it'll be a couple weeks before we kind of expand that beta out, but you're welcome to join any of the previews. You're welcome to sign up. And then the initial videos of this Google project, we're releasing our desktop ones only because we haven't even released the actual product for cloud yet, but we'll be releasing those as well. And so for anyone that speaks Spanish or Portuguese, they can understand that as well.
Mark, is okay. I'm gonna share my screen very quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I have to? Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, there's a
Good.
yeah, our the BDUs. So I'm gonna share now the claim number for the BDUs, and please by PMI, and you can report these BDUs. This is special thanks quickly for our sponsors, and just a quick announcement here. We are looking for technical Thursday speakers. So if you have any topic about Jira, any other project, any other softwares that help project project managers manage their works, please send an email to VB Programs, and we will contact you to find time, schedule time for technical events. It's exactly the same what we have today. This the BDU slide. You'll see this course identifier and the BDU claim number. When you go to the BDU, to the PMI.org, please fill that number and BDU claim code. Visit our website, and you will browse and see the events. We have coming events in May. We have the BDD day coming in May to be in person. It's in May 19th. And
Can you go back to the claim slide? Excuse me, can you go back to the claim slide?
yeah,
I didn't
sure.
catch that.
I'm sorry. I was so okay. I will keep it. I'll keep it in the screen, and we're gonna send a copy of this presentation to the email. So if you are not able to take it now, you will get a copy which will include the claim BDU claim.
I got it. I'm good, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, gentlemen, I unfortunately have a hard stop, so I do need to jump off, but I really appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah, if any question, please email it to VB Programs. I will email it to you, Mark. Mark will answer these questions if any question after the presentation. I think we are okay. Thank you. Thank you all for your
Hey,
time.
did you share the PDU information?
Yeah, this is the BDU information.
Okay, hold on. Just give me a sec. Sorry.